Well, hi everyone, and greetings from Northern Michigan. This is Bob the Science Guy. Today I'm having a conversation with prominent flat earther Brandon Toy. And the purpose of this conversation is to have a look at this image, this iconic flat earth image, the Black Swan. Now, I don't think anybody has ever actually looked at the image itself to try and figure out what we could and couldn't see. And if they did, it was either a debunker or a flat earther doing the looking. I'm not aware of anybody putting the two together and looking at it together. So let's cue up the music and get going. Today I have a special guest on the show, and that's Mr. Brandon Toy, one of my great foils in the flat earth. How you doing today, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, Bob? How's it going, everyone?
We had kind of made arrangements to kind of get together and talk about a couple of things with the Black Swan photo over the last week or so, and we managed to finally get together here on the 4th of July. Brandon is actually with me on Zoom, and he has access to my second screen. And you can see my second screen here in Streamlabs. But for some reason, when I try it on Discord, it doesn't put the information over. And you can see these images just fine, right, Brandon?
Yeah, I see two images of the platform habitat, I believe.
Correct. And I'm going to go ahead and make that a little bit larger for you just to make sure that we can see it nicely. So I'm going to bring these on out. Now there's two images here. And this is something that, I think we probably should get taken care of right from the get-go. Now, the top image right here is the Black Swan image of platform habitat, and the bottom one is the reference image from up close so that we can see the actual structures. And that comes from this image right here, okay? So the first thing that I want to do is, this is the original image of the Black Swan platform habitat, and then this is the image that was recently put out by the author of the original Black Swan video. And I'm just curious, do you agree that those are the same picture?
Yeah, it appears the what is it called, the height and the width has been changed in the bottom one, but yeah, same platform.
I'm glad that you brought that up right away, because that's the problem that I'm running into. These are exactly the same photograph, and you can tell that it's exactly the same photograph by the position of the boat, the position of these little bumpers and such on the side, and the position of the crane. They're identical photographs. But this bottom photograph, in my opinion, has been manipulated.
Yeah, the proportions are definitely different between the two photographs, yeah.
So here's the problem that I have. One of the arguments that are being made on the Black Swan is that there is compression. And if that's so, we can happily discuss that. But the thing is, the guy that did the original Black Swan just put this out and put a manipulated photograph in it. Do you agree that that's intellectually dishonest and is attempting to mislead people?
Well, I wouldn't go that far. What was the context of
the context was
the video?
The context of the video was that this image is compressed. So what he did was he compressed the actual image. Now, I'm making this point for two reasons. The first will be apparent in a moment when I discuss it with Brandon. The other one is the original video that was put out by the person that shot the Black Swan imagery. He put this out to music with a couple of captions. And his entire argument was that the top of the Black Swan was loomed up, but the bottom was compressed. And the way he demonstrated that was he manipulated this image. Here's the original photograph. And you can see the vertical height of this platform. Now compare that to an equally wide platform that's about half or a third as high as the original. Okay? That's a manipulated photograph, and that's something that I have a problem with, because he didn't say that he was manipulating the photograph to make a point. He just put it up as a photograph with no further explanation. Let's get back with Brandon.
Yeah, I mean, if he's trying to show a comparison between the actual image and a compressed photo, I guess that makes sense. If he's saying, hey, look, it matches up when I compress this photo, to try to substantiate the fact that it's compressed in his observation, I don't think that's manipulative necessarily.
Okay. Now, then I guess it would come down to the idea of whether or not he admitted that he had altered this photograph. Now, but that's just something that I wanted to get out right away to demonstrate to the audience that you can look at evidence and fairly assess it. All right. And quite frankly, you read the photograph the same way I did. That photograph's been compressed.
Yeah,
and,
definitely been compressed. I'll agree with that.
Yeah, it's been manipulated. And, that's something that I just wanted to point out real quick. Well, let's go see a couple of things here that I'm kind of looking at. Now, this right here, we've got the original image of platform habitat. And the distance to platform habitat is listed at 9.41 miles. Had a discussion on your channel the other day. How do you actually measure distances across water? What's an acceptable way of measuring them?
An acceptable method for measuring the actual distances?
Yes. Where'd that 9.41 miles come
in
from?
reality, or using online tools?
What would tell you that measurement of 9.41 miles is accurate? What would you accept as a measurement between the observer and the platform?
Well, I guess I'd have to take the word of the person that's at the location. But if I was going to try to validate that myself, I guess you could do some kind of triangulation to the
okay, so triangulation would be acceptable to you. I was talking to somebody on your server the other day and asked him how specifically you can measure the distance between New York and London. And he said it was impossible to directly measure that. And when I asked him specifically about what kind of measurement tools he would find acceptable, he indicated a yardstick. How would you measure the distance? Do you feel comfortable measuring distances on Google? Let me just put it that way. That may be a better way of putting it. Do you feel comfortable with the measurement distances that are on Google Earth?
For the most part, short distances, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. But I guess there's no way for me to validate that the distances that are on Google are correct when it really comes down to it.
Okay.
They tell me that it's 50 miles from Detroit to Saginaw. It's pretty accurate, I'm sure, but there's no way for me to say for sure that those measurements are exact. I wouldn't bet my life on it, Well, so for most purposes, I think it's okay.
Would you feel comfortable? One of the famous photographs that we see on the flat Earth is the photograph of the Chicago skyline from Warren Dunes, and the distance across Lake Michigan there is 60 miles. How confident are you in the fact that that's actually 60 miles?
I would say if it's not 60 exactly, it's somewhere in that ballpark.
Very close, and close enough for our purposes, would you say?
Close enough for the analysis of, how far or above the horizon or
fair enough
Chicago should be from that location. For those purposes, yeah.
All right, I agree. Now, Brandon, my apologies, because I don't have the direct link for this to you right now. I will provide it for you this week because I want you to be able to see this for yourself. This is a page from the licensure documents on the oil field that platform habitat is part of. Now, I'm going to make that a little bit larger. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Let me just bring this down a little bit. This is the part right here that we're concerned about. Now, the reason that I want to bring this up is that this is the basic outline of the construction of all of the platforms in that oil field. Okay? So here is sea level. Here's the boat dock. Here is the bottom of this, the tight cross-membered girders. And, you know, so that's at 40 feet. Now the bottom of the working platform itself, which is the, you know, the top level, not including the helipad, of course, is at 57 feet. Are you comfortable with these numbers?
Based on that diagram, yeah.
All right. And by the way, you know, I mean, this is, I'm not trying to sneak one in on you here. This is the actual construction document, and I will provide you with a full copy.
I believe you.
Now, just having a look at platform habitat, I'm going to actually make that a hair smaller. You're not on your phone or anything, are you?
No, I'm on my laptop. I'm good.
All right. You can see this okay?
Yep.
All right. Now, what I want to do is I want to have a comparison with these two here. Now, let's start from something, you know, I think whenever you have a discussion, it's always a good idea to start from something that we can all agree on. And that is this area right here is this cross-hatched area. This is the working deck of the platform, and this elevation is 57 feet, and that corresponds to this deck right here.
Yeah, I think so. I just don't see those diagonal cross sections between those two, but it has to be that section.
Yeah. Now, the reason that I say that is I think what they did, and you know, this is my opinion, and I'm going to state it as my opinion. This is the basic structure of the platform. Now, the stuff that is above the water level should be very close to what these documents indicate it should be. I do know that that heliport, that flight deck right there is 90 feet above the water, because that's through FAA documents. This is clearly the working area of the rig right here. And I think what they did was they put some storage and they put some outbuildings and stuff down in this area. But I think that that is the deck right there that we're looking at here. And the bottom of that deck is 40 feet above the surface of the water.
Yeah, that would be my guess too. But the next deck up,
this deck right here?
That's represented, yeah, that deck would be the top of the one with the diagonal lines, the 57-foot line, right? That's 57 feet.
That's my read on it.
What is in the diagram, the construction diagram, are those lines above that 57-foot mark, are those just measurement, or is that supposed to be
these are measurements? It's saying what these are. I don't think that this is an actual deck right here. I'm going to go ahead and just bring that over here for a second, because I want to make sure that everybody can very clearly see it. All right. So what Brandon was talking about is this line right up here looks like it's a dimension outline. So these are 45-foot sections. These two on the end are both 15 feet, and that corresponds to the overhangs and then the main structural part. Now, as we come down, we have some diagonals right here. Okay, these large diagonals, and I do believe that those are these right here. Would you agree?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, it looks pretty clear, right? These are this is the diagonals here.
Yep, I think so.
This deck right here is the boat landing deck. Okay. And that's listed at and that is listed, I'm going to bring this over so everybody can see it. And that is listed at an elevation of 15 feet above sea level. So we very clearly identified the parts of this photograph from this close-up photograph. There's no blurriness in here. I mean, we can clearly identify everything, right? So
Yeah,
that
I'm
level
just
is,
curious about that 15-foot number, how accurate that is, but
well, there's a man right
above sea
there.
level.
There's a man right there.
There's a man. Oh, okay, yeah.
Assuming
Pretty
he is
close.
6 feet tall, we've got a minimum of 2 or 3 times his height between the sea level right here and that deck. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, that's probably.
So you're
pretty
comfortable with
close,
the 15 feet. That is clearly 15 feet above the water right there.
yeah, as a rough number, yeah.
Okay. So we have the reason that I'm not trying to pin you down on exactly 15 versus 14 feet point and 6 inches is that the construction document indicates that that's 15 feet. And based on the size of that man right there on the boat and the distance above the water, I'm going to say that that's a reasonable number. And I think you'll agree with me on that, correct?
I think that's reasonable based on this picture, yeah.
All right. Now we have another image right here that I want to have a look at with you. And that is this one. So I'm going to go ahead and just make this a little bit larger so that we can see it a little better. Now we'll keep this one up, the construction documents up, just for reference, but I'm going to primarily compare it to the one that we just looked at. But if you have any questions, we'll go back to the construction document. Okay. Now, here is the flame boom, and here is the flame boom. So this right here is the main deck of habitat, and it goes from about here over to about here, and that corresponds with here to here. Are we both pretty comfortable with that?
Yep, that's fine.
All right. Now, right here, we see another deck. And there's an overhang there, and it goes along right here. Now, my thoughts on that are, here, let me get this out of the way. That's this deck right here.
Yeah, that's the 40-foot deck, yeah.
That's 40 feet. You're correct. I stand corrected. So it's 40 feet from that point down to the water.
Yep.
Now, right here, I see the cross beams, and I see another one over here. Okay.
Yep.
I see cross beams here, and I see another one over here. So we both agree that we can clearly see those. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Those, you can see those cross beams. Yeah.
Now, right here, I'm a little on the fence about this, but I'm going to have to say that that is probably a railing of some sort right there. And I'm thinking that it is right in this area right here, at or either right at the top of this railing, but I think it's definitely between the top of this railing right here and that deck. Would you feel comfortable with that?
You're seeing some of that. I mean, there appears to be, it's really tough to make out any detail in that area, but it appears that there's something going across the bottom part there.
Yeah, I think that there's something down here, and looking at the angle that these cross beams are forming,
yeah,
I'm thinking that that cross beam goes all the way from this side all the way down to the opposite lower corner. All right, so you see how that kind of looks like, kind of looks like a hurricane flag, I guess. But it's going from right here, and it's going down to the corner.
Okay.
I'm a little torn as to whether or not it makes it all the way over here, or the bottom part of it's cut off. Do you have any thoughts on that? I can blow it up a little bit.
I would say it's so distorted. It might and it might not. I don't think we could say with any confidence.
All right.
There's too much going down in that area.
Yeah, right here. I don't know if that makes it all the way over to here.
It kind of looks like it does.
I think that what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to say it goes all the way over there. because I would rather err a little bit on the side of, I don't want to take any of it off. All right, I want to give it the maximum benefit. I'm trying to find the very lowest part of this platform that I can clearly see.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that definitely goes. I'm going to say that goes to that other cross member.
Okay.
And according to this construction document, I'm going to say that it's somewhere between 15 and 20.5 feet of elevation, because I think that we're looking at something that's in this area right here. How do you feel about that?
If that's where the railing is for the boat launch, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah. You see where this kind of like question mark thing is?
Yeah.
I think that question mark would be right here, don't you?
Let me see the construction diagram one more time.
Yeah.
Question mark.
Yeah, that kind of question mark thing. It's down in this corner right in here. And I think that that represents that area right there.
There's no diagonal in that area, though. When it says boat landing, there's no cross member.
But there is one, though, and you can see it.
But there is one, yeah, right.
All right.
So
they may have just taken that one. They may have taken that one diagonal out simply because they had the boat landing there. Or let's look at this again real quick. See, it looks like the diagonals start from the center, and then this one goes down that way, and I'm wondering if there's one right with it or on the opposite side going the other way. I don't know. What do you think? Right there?
Possibly.
Yeah. That would.
I think you're probably right, though. I mean, I think it's logical to think that's where that.
I'm thinking that there's a triangle right there, and then there's a triangle right there. I mean, they're trying to set that up as a truss. I don't know if you're in construction. I don't know what kind of work you do, but when you can add a cross member like that adds a lot of strength rather than just having a simple box. If you put a cross member in it, it's a lot stronger. That's why you see that in bridges and such.
Yep.
All right. So I think that you and I are both agreeing that we are seeing down to a point between 15 and 20 feet above the water right here.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
All right. Do you see anything on that oil platform that is lower than 15 or 20 feet above the water?
I can't make out any structure below the ones that we've identified so far.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a note right here that we kind of agree that we can see down to within 15 to 20 feet of the surface of the water on that oil platform, but we can see no lower than that. Fair statement?
Yep.
Just for shits and giggles, let's go look at the other one. Dum, dum, dum. Now, this is platform Hilltop, which is 6.21 miles. Now, once again, you comfortable calling that Hilltop, and you comfortable with a 6.21? Or Hill House, excuse me. All right.
Hill House, yeah.
Yeah. So that would be one of those little things that I'll cut out later, so I don't stumble. But you're going to see the original. Okay, so here's Hill House. Now, one interesting thing about this is it looks like they may be, because there's the helipad there. There's the helipad here. It looks like they're basically just mirror images of each other because of the angle. One may be facing east, the other's facing west, but they're essentially the same kind of platform. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Same basic form.
Go with that. Yeah, same basic structure, sure.
Yeah.
Without knowing anything about the details of them, yeah.
All right. Now, I'm not worried so much about the scale right here. I can try and scale these if you would like me to. Obviously this one here is, a lot larger than that, even though they're probably approximately the same size. The thing that I'm curious about is what's underneath it. So this, let's see if we can figure out where the working deck is here. So on this one, we decided that that was 40 feet, and we decided that that level right there was 57, right? We decided that that was the bottom part. So here is, well, let's just start with what we can see. Here is the railing, it looks like, at the boat deck, which is what we're seeing right down here, correct? Would you say that that is approximately the same level as that?
I'm looking at this, though. If you look at the left of habitat.
Here.
Yeah, right above where we think the 57 is.
Right here?
Yeah, right there. Do you see that diagonal cross member right there, or that diagonal black bit?
Yeah. This part right here?
Yeah, that right there. What do you think that is on the hill house? Because looking at these,
I'm thinking that that's this cross member right here, don't you?
I don't know. I'm looking at the hill house picture
but
now.
This little platform may or may not be there, but I think that cross member is.
Maybe, but I'm looking at the hill house. I'm trying to find it on that same part on the hill house picture.
All right. So let's get these over here a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and bring that one up and that one. All right. So right here is this cross member you're talking about?
Yeah, I guess it would be that one, right?
Yeah, that would be it. So that you're thinking is probably right in this area here?
Yeah, I think so.
So that would make this deck right here the same as that deck right there. And they kind of look about the same.
Yeah.
That's the
looks
boat,
about the same, yeah.
That's the boat deck.
Right.
And as you recall, that deck is 15 to 20.5 feet above the water, right there.
Yep.
Now, trying to think if I've got a clearer picture of Hill House. It's unfortunate that we don't have a boat and a man to compare it to.
Yeah, this one's a lot clearer than the other one, though. It looks to me like you're seeing.
I'm seeing all of this.
The whole damn thing that you're seeing in the picture.
Yeah, I'm pretty much seeing all of this down here.
Right.
All right. I would suspect that if we got a good clear picture of Hill House, we may find a small amount down here, and I'm talking on the order of 1 or 2 feet maybe. But I think that we can agree that we can pretty much see all the way down, and when we're starting to deal with 6 to 18 inches, I think that that's getting a little too fine for what we can read out of this photograph. Would you agree? I mean, that's beyond our ability to precisely estimate it visually. There's too much blur.
Yeah, to me it looks like we're seeing the whole thing.
I think we're seeing pretty much the whole thing, very close at least. But it's definitely very different than what we're seeing on the other one. We are not seeing any of this structure down here. Would you agree? See, we clearly see it here.
That is what we're seeing, that railing.
We're seeing the top of this railing right here. Yep. That's what we're seeing. We're not seeing any of this structure down here.
Why do you say the top? Because I think probably at that distance, it's all going to just look like a black line.
You know, Brandon, let's go ahead and split the difference. Let's go ahead and split the difference. I think it's the top. The very best that we can do is say it's this catwalk. So it's probably going to fall somewhere in between those two. Let's go with a catwalk at 15 feet. Wouldn't that be a fair way of trying to assess a photograph of this type?
I guess it's so squished up there at the bottom that I don't know that you can assign it to any particular part. But if you want to be conservative, I guess the black lines that we see in the picture are at a minimum the bottom of that. platform.
Yeah, there's
'Cause you
somewhere
do see
right
a
around
little
there
bit
within a
of-
foot. You know, look, when we're dealing with Hill House, we're going to sit down and say there's no way we can tell the bottom 6 to 18 inches. The distance between this platform, well, here, this platform down here, since it's the one, this is the one we're looking at. The distance between this platform and the top of that rail is probably 4 feet. All right. I'm not going to argue over 18 inches. I really don't think that
No, here
that's
you can
worth
see it a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah. But you can definitely see it on Hill House, but you cannot see it there. So we definitely have missing platform here. Now, the other thing...
See, that's the part I don't know that I can completely agree to, because it's so distorted at the bottom.
Okay.
That I don't really know if we can say what we're seeing or not. But
well, can
but
we
go
agree
ahead.
that
Let's say
we can't clearly identify anything below 15 feet above the water?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, maybe
right.
even a little higher, maybe like 20 feet. We can't clearly identify anything, but
we're looking at 15, 20 feet. Now, I'll do the math on this.
We're assuming that black going from one side to the other is the railing structure.
Okay. Now, notice that we haven't done any math. I haven't pulled out a curve calculator or anything. I want you and I to sit down and just make an honest assessment of what we can and can't see. And I think that we're agreeing that the bottom 15 to 20 feet of that platform we can't see.
We can't make anything out.
We cannot identify anything. We can't identify any structure.
We can't identify the lower part of that structure is too distorted to identify anything. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm going to go ahead and stop there. And the reason that I want to stop there is that I think that we have clearly identified different structures on both hilltop and habitat. I think that we can very clearly see that on platform habitat that there is no structure below 15 to 20 feet above the water that we can clearly identify. Now, where Brandon and I are having a disagreement right now is why we can't see any structures below 15 or 20 feet above the water. And I think that that's best left for tomorrow's episode, where we're going to finish up this interview. But tomorrow, I think we're going to pick that up, and we're going to have a discussion about what happened to that missing 15 to 20 feet of that platform. So, this is Bob the Science Guy signing out from Northern Michigan. And before I go, I want to thank Brandon Toy for stopping by and having a chat. I think that, as you can tell by the way this interview went, this was not a hostile adversarial system. We are assessing this photograph together and coming to a consensus on what we can and cannot see. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Take care.